My name is Franz-Albrecht Oettingen-Spielberg, and I've dedicated my life to understanding and hunting Europe's most magnificent game species. Join me as I share my passion and field experience in the management and pursuit of my favorite five, where conservation, ethical hunting, and sustainable management guide every decision we make.
It's a rainy afternoon. It's about 6 o'clock. It looks like it's gonna get, like the sun's gonna come out at some point in the evening. Ideally, this couldn't be better for the rut. It's been relatively hot over the last few days. So, I think we should see some good action tonight. We're looking for a relatively good 5-year-old buck with big coronets who lives just inside here. And thankfully the high seat has a roof. So we're gonna start here and just feel out the evening, see how steady the wind is, see how much movement there is, how much rut there is. And once we have a good understanding of the situation, we'll either decide to go for one of the good ones or wait for another day.
I think the Roe rut is the most magical time in the year. I think the summer, it's warm, it's beautiful outside, nature is dark green, and you have these red rutting bucks in the forest or in the field areas. There's something so special about it that is difficult to explain, but every Roe hunter will understand that for us, it's the highlight of the year.
Hornady, hand-loaded, 6x50R. For me, the best rodeo caliber there is. As you can see, we cleared a path all the way to the high seat in order to be able to access the high seat without any disturbance. I find that maybe the number one most important part of calling the bucks is to enter without anyone noticing that you're going to be there. You can enter without one of these paths, make some disturbance, get to the high seat, and then wait half an hour for everything to calm down, and then start calling. And you'll probably still have success because within that half an hour, roe deer will have forgotten about some intruder coming in. But obviously, because we want to do stand by stand, it's much easier and less time consuming to get in quietly and come out quietly. Of course, making these paths before the rut is a nuisance and takes a lot of time. But to be successful and really do good management during the rut, because it's obviously only 2 weeks long, if you want to take the whole quota in those 2 weeks, it's important to have good access. You can hear all the songbirds. They're giving alarm to anyone or all the other game around here that there's intruders coming in. So the birds, they're calling because of us. We are the intruders. So it's just important to be aware, because roe deer will also be aware because of the songbirds. And it's best to slip into the high seat as quickly as possible and then wait until everything is calm again and the songbirds have stopped calling an alarm. looks like the territorial buck. Relatively large hoof. To me it's a male. And it's relatively fresh because it's rained most of the day. So you can see their fresh tracks.
Welcome to our equipment talk regarding the Roebuck. In terms of rifle, scope and ammunition, the main rifle that I've used for many years now is a Shiring Mini. This is a mini system. As you can see, it's only as tall as 2 of my fingers. The rifle weighs just over 2 kilograms, including scope and sound moderator. It weighs just over 3 kilograms. It's amazingly light and it's wonderful to carry and move because obviously with rutting bucks, you're going from one stand to the other, you're standing behind trees, you need to be able to be very agile with your gun. In case a buck comes from behind, you need to be able to move quickly. So it's nice to have an extremely light rifle. The accuracy is absolutely incredible. I'm using Hornady hand-loaded ELD-X 103 grain cartridges. I mean, the effectiveness, I don't have to speak about, you can just see the videos. Most bucks drop in their tracks. The scope I love to use most for the Roebuck is the 1.7 to 13.3 times 42p from Swarovski. Why? Because I can take the magnification down all the way to 1.7, meaning that if I'm in a very closed off area or I don't have a lot of shooting distance and the buck comes in very, very close, I can go down all the way to 1.7. But at the same time, if I have to take a shot, let's say in the evening out in a meadow, I can go up to nearly 14 times. At the same time, I have my ballistic turret. So if I have to shoot further, I can easily adjust to any distance that I need to. Obviously, it's got an illuminated reticle, which is fantastic. And the accuracy is, I mean, I've never had an issue. I don't really need a bigger, let's say times 50 or so objective because I don't really hunt very early mornings and I don't hunt late at night. Also, I think this scope from its design and size fits very well on this tiny rifle. Anything bigger would destroy the beauty of the rifle.
I can see the buck just down below us with his female. He's in the rutting place right now. So we have to make sure we go up extremely carefully. It's the buck we're looking for. Within 70 yards. So I don't want him to come too quickly because he can bust us, he can run through the stand and take the wind from behind. I really want him to come as slowly as possible, not knowing exactly what's going on and just coming to have a look. That's my goal. Was already there when we came. It's the buck that we're looking for. wanted him. The wind was good, but as you could see, he's a 5-year-old buck. He's wary all the time. I think I made a good shot, but he was full of adrenaline. That's why he went a few yards. But it just goes to show how important it is to know exactly the territory of the buck. And we had, with trail cams, we go through the forest and we know that this buck lives within this hectare. And he was just below, maybe 100 meters below the high seat when we got here. And if you can narrow it down to that, calling can become an incredibly effective way of managing the herd. And this was a great example. I'm very happy. He's a great buck. He's got big coordinates. Fantastic buck.
I mean, he's a real personality, or a good friend of mine who knows a lot about roe deer. He's called Jean-Dominique. He's from France. He calls them, a buck of this age and of this stature, he calls them, it's a real monsieur. And I think it's true. Once these bucks get to this type of age, there's something about them. And he is one of them. I mean, if you look at the coronets, how wide and big they are, he's going back in the top, and he's definitely seen the best years, but he's a fantastic roebuck. And it's good to clear his territory here. There's a few younger bucks that can take over, and we were lucky to come in at the right time, the right place, to find him alone and feeding. A lot of the bucks at this time of the rut are now with females, so it's about finding the spots where the bucks are currently alone. You can also call them away from females, but this was the ideal situation. We saw him before we got up, and we managed to call him right to the spot where we wanted him. He came within a few minutes, and it all worked out perfectly. So we're gonna give him his last bite, which I'll take from here. I don't even have to check his teeth because I know how old he is. We've known him for years. Fantastic buck. And I love, of course, the color of the hide at this time of the year compared to April and May. Yeah, I mean, a red buck in this green forest during the rut, it's just something very, very special that I'm sure anyone who loves roe deer knows exactly what I'm talking about. Dog leash helps a lot to get the bucks out of the field, because I mean, we've got probably 500 meters back to the car. A buck as he is now will probably weigh 26, 27. So if you carry him by the horns, it becomes a little tiresome, and with a dog leash it helps a lot. I think maybe the one or two mistakes that can easily be made when calling roebucks is not entering the stand unnoticed. Getting there a little bit too loud, because the ideal situation is that you enter your stand and the buck is within 100 meters radius somewhere in a thicket around you, because the closer you are, the more likely he's going to come and the less time it's going to take. So entering the stand without stepping on twigs, without making any other type of noises, without having bad wind, etc., is the absolute core importance, or is of core importance. And I think that is underestimated, because often maybe you think, well, my call is so loud that bucks will come from a kilometer or two away, when often the territories of the bucks are much smaller, and the area where you're calling should only be maybe 100 by 200 meters, and therefore, yeah, coming in quietly, I think, is one of the major important factors. I think the row rut is the most magical time in the year.
For me, it's part of my life, and I cannot imagine living without the land, the animals, and everything as much in harmony as possible.